to the God Is a Geek podcast. My name's Adam Cook. As always, with me, Colm and Dan Murphy.
Hello there, Adam.
Hello there, Adam. Hello there, Dan.
Nice, don't sound too happy about it. Colm, I'm going to let you do the intros here because I feel like this warrants one of your special ones.
Oh, really? Oh, whoa, I wasn't prepared for this. One of my boxing style intros,
so,
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, shit, I wasn't prepared.
That's the idea.
Right. Okay. Let's get ready to podcast!
I just meant to introduce Steve, actually.
Oh, sorry, right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Steve Gaynor.
Hi, everybody. Hey.
Steve, for those who don't know, Jesus Christ, Colm, honestly.
I wasn't, you told me one of my special intros. I didn't know what you...
For Steve, as in... Doesn't matter. Let's move on. It's in the past now. It's definitely special. Steve, for those who don't know, can you tell our audience who you are and what you do? They should bloody know, but let's hope just as in case.
It's fine. You don't have to. I'm Steve. I'm one of the co-founders of Fullbright. We made a game called Gone Home that came out on PC a couple of years ago and is coming out on consoles in the UK and Europe and everywhere else on the 12th, this Friday. And we're working on a new game called Tacoma. So that's me.
So, Gone Home then.
Yeah.
Who wants to start here?
Steve, beforehand, I was talking with Adam, and I was like, "There's so many things I want to ask Steve, but I don't know." Because it's just out in consoles, so I don't want to go too in depth because it's a very, very narrative-driven game.
You were all for like a full spoiler discussion until I pointed out that at the time we'd be recording, it actually hasn't come out on console for people in this country.
Europeans, yeah.
We could do we could do no spoilers for a while, and then you could drop a full spoiler warning. Turn off your podcast now warning later on.
Possibly.
Beautiful idea.
I mean, that's done it, really, isn't it? I mean, well, so in that case, if you're listening and you've played Gone Home and you just want the dirt, which is an interesting choice of words.
It's a very interesting choice of words.
The dirt on the game, come back in a bit later. But just for the record, listen to the rest of the podcast first because it will be great. Steve, I imagine you're a very busy man because having your game come out on a new load of platforms means a new run of publicity usually. But you're also got to. Am I pronouncing? Is it Tacoma or is it sort of a less harsh C?
No. You wait. Less hard. So like an S sound, like Tacoma? Is this what you're thinking of?
I was wondering if it was almost like Tahoma. Do you know what I mean? And it was
that would be good. Let's say it is. Let's say canonically,
exclusive.
Officially, that is the pronunciation. Everyone who says it the other way is technically wrong, but I'm not going to correct you.
No, I mean that's the first exclusive of the podcast. That's, it's a good start. I mean, to be honest with you, because of Gone Home being the kind of game it is. I think it must be difficult to promote a game like Tahoma.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people, myself included, will want to go in as blind as they can. So how would you describe it for a start?
Tacoma is it's a
Tahoma,
first person.
Steve, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm just trying to be a populist here. I know how most people are going to pronounce it, so I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. It's a first person story exploration game. It takes place on a space station in the year 2088, and the crew is not present. You are basically exploring this space and interacting with what the crew left behind via the kind of advanced augmented reality technology that's on the station. So unlike Gone Home, where it was just you in the house and objects and some audio diaries, in Tacoma, there are these basically fully 3D recordings of what happened on the station before you got there. And you, as the player, go through, manipulate them, kind of share the space with them, and piece together what happened by exploring the place. So that's it. It's a little bit of Gone Home in space, you know what I mean? Like, as a baseline.
That's the tagline.
But, we didn't want to just say it's Gone Home except the house looks like a space station, you know what I mean? Like, there's future stuff instead of 90s stuff. So we really wanted to push hard on what do we think some emerging technologies are that might be common in the future, like if people had this augmented reality experience kind of overlaying their everyday lives, how could we use that mechanically as like a gameplay mechanism, as something that the player interacts with, to let you feel like you can kind of feel the presence of the characters even more strongly, and not just like stand in the room while they talk, but be able to actually involve yourself with the timeline and how you understand it through that tech. So that's what
I was going to ask you, because like you said about like, Gone Home in Space, but I was going to straight away say that's kind of fine because there's not that many of those types of games. But I mean, are you comfortable if I say to you something like, Gone Home kind of kicked off that style of game becoming popular? Or do you disagree?
I think that how would I put it? I hope that Gone Home kind of being a breakthrough title in a way, as far as like getting, I think, more attention than probably other titles like it that had come beforehand, helped make it seem like a more like viable kind of game for people to take a chance on making, and I think it was I don't think it was Gone Home exclusively. Obviously, I feel like, we were part of a little bit of a zeitgeist where we came out, and then like a couple months later, the Stanley Parable came out.
Parable, yeah.
And I feel like, those two games coming out and being these non-violent first-person games, and building off of games like Dear Esther and 30 Flights of Loving, and I mean, we even, we certainly took Amnesia: The Dark Descent as an inspiration for us, like minus the monsters, but like that game was very much about the physicality of like being in the space and opening drawers and having physics objects roll around and being able to, really feel like you can touch everything in a meaningful way. So I think that we were at a point where I hope that I do feel like that there have been more games that are sort of along these lines, either that have come out recently or are very soon coming out, like Firewatch, that's out this week, and like
have
games
you played Firewatch
like
out of interest? Sorry,
I have played Firewatch.
Have you played it all the way through, sort of thing?
Yep.
Okay, I mean I'm not going to talk about spoilers, but it's just. What do you make of it? Because I reviewed it for our site, only give it 9.5. I think it's genuinely exceptional. I'm intrigued because I haven't actually had a chance to talk to anyone else who's played it yet.
Right. And this will be out when Firewatch is already out, right?
It'll be out. But, I mean, we won't spoil it, obviously. But
right.
Yeah, please don't.
Well, I mean, there is the part where you meet the ghost, and that's fucked up. So I mean, if that's a spoiler, then you've been spoiled. But
that's what he said.
Wait, I don't understand what's real or not now. I'm scared. I'm going to see you later.
But yeah, no, I have played it. I have finished it. I didn't read your review yet. I think reviews just went up this morning for us.
I was going to say you'd have to be quick. It's only just kind of gone up. So
yeah. But 9.5. Pretty good.
I think it's good. I mean, what would you say was, if you were to pick out one thing, so like with Gone Home, if I was to pick out one thing that I would say is the most memorable thing, like the not moment, but just generally, I'd say it's the story. And I think probably a lot of people would say that. I mean, there's the building itself. Dan reviewed the console version. I remember you said something similar, didn't you, Dan?
I remember, because what hit me the most after playing it again for like the second time after, like when it first came out on PC, was that since I've left home and gone to uni and had siblings who've had a bit of trouble when I've not been there, so playing this older sibling and coming back to a place where lots of shit's gone down and you've not been there to help in any way, did hit me quite a lot. So yeah, that's probably what stuck with me the most. And that fucking jump scare, Jesus Christ!
that's just me trolling. I'm trolling hard.
Man, when the first time when that hit me, I screamed.
Is it right, Steve, that that's the only scripted moment in Gone Home?
As far as just like straight up scripting, saying when you click on this other thing should happen. I mean, there's like when you first walk in the door of the house, the lights come on in a scripted way. There are little things like music stings, and stuff like that. But it's just as far as like a scripted event, besides the intro and the outro. That's it. I wanted to be real hands-off with that.
It still even got me the second time as well, because I thought it was instant. When I was playing it the first time, like I remember it being an instant turn-off, and then when I picked up the second time, it was like a second, it didn't happen. I was like, what? And then it hit me, and I was like...
Sorry. I just pictured that, and it made me lol.
I don't do horror very well.
But I suppose we're kind of talking about how Gone Home and Stanley Parable, in a way, kind of spearheaded this type of game. Yeah, I know you say that like, there was kind of DRS there beforehand and whatnot, but now in 2016 with the likes of Firewatch out, Soma late last year, like the market is an awful lot more flooded with these types of what do we say? Wonder games. That's what it was.
From Campus Santa. He said they've coined it. They're not walking simulators; they're wonder games.
Yeah, which I think is a great term. But because of the market being a bit more flooded, is that a worry when it comes to Tacoma, or are you pretty confident in Tacoma?
I think that is why we had to try to say to ourselves like that we have to expand on what the player's doing in a fundamental way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that we could say, okay, yeah, it's more of that just done very well. Because like maybe it is, and that's great. But I think that part of what was important about Gone Home, as far as the reaction it garnered, was that I think in a lot of ways, it felt like something that a lot of people had not played something like this before. Because we can totally point to here's this and that thing that like inspired us or parts of these other bigger games. But I think that, in 2013, a lot of people played Gone Home and they're like, I've never played something like this before. I got to tell my friends to check it out. And I think that, now, if we just did more Gone Home, it would be like, oh, it's one of those, but it's good. You know what I mean? And so I feel like what we had to do was say that's why we really wanted to take advantage of this, fictional futuristic technology and say, this changes how you engage with the game. This changes how you have control over your understanding of this story. And it gives people a way to say, here's something, this doesn't feel like something I've ever played before. And I need to say to my friends, to the people I know, to my whatever social media group, mm-hmm. You've never played something like this before. It's crazy. You got to check it out right away. And hopefully that means, and the thing is, I think that that's true for us as well as the audience. Like we as developers, I feel like we have to be trying to do something like that to stay really engaged and be like, to be firing on all cylinders as far as like, okay, we're doing something that we want to exist because we've never played something like this before, and that's what drives us. And so hopefully that also means that players will want to check it out when it's available.
It's
like what one.
I was going to say it's a game. Talking about Firewatch as well. When people were asking today when the reviews went live, like what kind of game is it? Mm-hmm. And that question came up about the walking simulator, and I would say, I don't. When we talked to Patrick, we said the same. We don't really like that term. That's how the Wonder game thing come up. It's just a nicer term. But I actually think Firewatch has got a lot in common with Gone Home. Only Firewatch does add more, and please forgive me for saying this, but more sort of gamey mechanics. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've played it, you probably know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it actually, but it has the same sort of thing. Like it has the one hook that makes it feel different, and that's the walkie-talkie.
Yep.
That's the communication. Like I don't think I've ever played a game that does actual conversation that well. I mean, Oxenfree recently did it very well, but Firewatch. It's not a very long game. I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that. It's not a long game, but by the end of it, somehow I felt like I was just like listening to two old friends. And I think to do that in such a short running time is phenomenal. And it's actually like real people talking. Yeah. It doesn't sound like game dialogue.
Yeah.
And in that respect, it sounds like you're trying to do something similar with Tacoma. You're trying to take that idea, but just go a bit different with it.
Right. And I think that is... I think that you're hitting on something that... is kind of at the heart of it, right? Because like you can so I don't think it's spoily at all to talk about some of the mechanical aspects of the game, but it's like in Firewatch, there are mechanical things like, okay, it takes place in a forest, a national park forest, so like you wander a big open area and there's like rocky hillsides and dense underbrush and stuff, and so over the course of the game there's this sort of like Metroid-ish kind of like, okay, you can't go down.
I've never even thought of it. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yep.
And so there's this kind of like, okay, I've got access to this much area, but there's this rocky hillside here. Oh, now I have the climbing ropes, so I can traverse that. And you're kind of building out your and that's cool and everything, but that's not the kind of thing that's not the same as the walkie-talkie. You know what I mean? Like, you can say, here's a walking simulator or a wonderful game or whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, I'm being terrible. And it's got, like, these cool mechanics where you get these tools to be able to access more of the forest, and it's got, a physical map and compass that you use to navigate and stuff, and it's sort of like, okay, that's cool, nice, okay, cool. And then it's like, but what the game is about is building a relationship with this character by you being able to talk with them over your walkie-talkie throughout the whole game, ask them about things you're seeing, discuss what's going on, kind of express your own role in this relationship as you play. And it's like, okay, that's what makes this different. Like, the other stuff is good and makes it richer, but as far as like why I should play this, it's the other thing, right? And so I think
it's a conversation, but by miles. Like, it's I actually think they've raised the bar a little bit, and anyone who's doing conversations in games is going to have a harder time, because I think we, as an industry as such, getting to the point where sort of stilted, shitty dialogue doesn't work. Right. People are smarter. People will. I think it's okay.
They won't accept kind of poorly formed stories or poorly formed dialogue anymore.
Unless it's intentional, unless it's purposefully schlocky and stupid, and it's like a B movie. But I think in terms of a game that's actually trying to do serious narrative. Yeah. I think we're rapidly getting to the point where it has to be done properly. It has to feel natural somewhere. I don't know if you agree.
Oh, no, I mean, absolutely, right? Like, I mean, I think that's one challenge for us with Tacoma is, like, for me in particular, this is the first game that I'm writing, like, dialogue by the technical, like, definition of that word. I'm writing scenes where multiple characters are talking to each other in real time and responding to each other. Like, I didn't really even think about it till we started working on Tacoma, but like everything I worked on before that, from BioShock stuff through Gone Home, everything I wrote was a monologue, right? Like, in Gone Home, there's Katie's answering machine message, and there's all of Sam's audio diaries, and they're just like one person basically talking into a mic. You know what I mean? Like, on BioShock, you write audio diaries, which are people recording to themselves, or a radio message, which is just like, go here, do this. You know what I mean? And I think that you're absolutely right, that if you're going to write a scene with multiple characters having to react to each other as individuals, and it has to be believable, right? You have to think like, okay, I can totally imagine that I'm just eavesdropping on these people having this exchange, because like, if it doesn't, it all falls apart. And so, I think that's kind of why Firewatch lives or dies on whether that stuff lands for you and that naturalism. Because if it's like, okay, I don't buy this, then from the beginning, you got nothing, right? But like, if you're drawn into the craft of how that dialogue is written and delivered, and you believe it, and you really feel like you're just hearing these two people get to know each other, then it all sings,
And I suppose I'm delighted you gave me a fantastic, perfect segue to talk about BioShock. Like, I adore the series, and I suppose
you're unwavering in your support, where a lot of people have, like, especially for Infinite, have backed down and gone like, I'm with you. I still think it's fantastic.
I absolutely, I adore the series, but like
I love when I'm talking to people. I love hearing Irish people talk about BioShock, because all I can hear is Atlas. I'm like, goddamn splicers.
It's blowing my mind. I never saw this either.
Would you kindly?
Yes.
And again, just one more time.
Would you kindly? Brilliant. So there you go. There's your Atlas.
That's your ringtone.
Actually, that's one thing as well. There was Irish in Red Dead who was fucking shit. There was, who else? There was the Saboteur, Sean something or other. Right. Again, big Asha, big Ara kind of accent. Atlas in BioShock.
You nearly forgot Assassin's Creed.
Jesus, yeah. But Atlas has a genuine Dublin accent. It's just fucking sublime. But like,
which, by the way, sorry, not to derail you too much. A little piece of trivia I know about that performer is he's actually Irish, but he's from, like, I think Northern Ireland. So he is putting on a Dublin accent, but he is Irish person, born and raised, so he is better at it than most, let's say, British or whatever, English or American people trying to do their best fucking Lucky Charms voice or whatever.
Exactly. I'm well used to it with these fuckers anyway, Steve, trying to do the accent.
Now, come on now.
But Minerva, I'm just good because I'm trying to fucking segue and it's not being seamless. But Minerva's Den, Steve, it's kind of highlighted as one of the best. Like, I would put it up there with Red Dead's Undead Nightmare. What other DLC is fantastic?
Undead Nightmare's not
Witcher
fantastic.
stuff. Sick.
Oh, Undead Nightmare is fantastic. Yeah, with the recent Witcher 3 stuff. But Minerva's Den is considered like one of the top kind of DLC packages, and it kind of takes a more narrative slant with it. Was there any element of Minerva's Den that you kind of took into Gone Home as such? Was there anything that maybe twigged something in your head that you could take because I suppose with the BioShock series, most people, if they have an issue with BioShock, is in the combat. Me, myself, I fucking love it. Right. But some people are not fans of it. And they love the parts where they walk around. BioShock Infinite is the same. Where they love the initial part with the parade and whatnot, where you're walking around.
Because in BioShock Infinite, it's quite a while before you hit the combat. Because you're met with like the Beach Boys song, God Only Knows, and all that. And all this has happened. And you haven't swung a punch, let alone...
It's not until you have the baseball,
the racism thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a little. Exactly. It's a bit sudden, I guess. And you could certainly argue that that's an intentional shock moment, like that the point is not to gradually ease you into violence being okay, but to just like mash you in the face with it, literally, I guess, or mash it in that cop's face. I think that that's I think that is a very common reaction to Infinite. I think that the split there is pretty stark. We kind of on Minerva's Den, we basically kind of went the opposite direction with it, where what I wanted to do mechanically in Minerva's Den was say it's a 3-level DLC, but we have the entire a full power curve of a BioShock game within just a few hours. So you start out with like one plasmid and the drill, and you end up with all of your upgrades and plasmid and stuff available by the end of it. And then you beat the boss and get the thing, and then after that point you go down an elevator and we just put your weapons away, and the last maybe 5 minutes of Minerva's Den are just walking through Porter's office, looking at things, listening to an audio diary, internalizing what it all means. I mean, the end of Minerva's Den is basically a proto Gone Home, effectively, right? Like, we've got like photos and documents stuck up in an order, and you go past them and you listen to this audio diary exchange. And I think that maybe there's something that's less jarring about having a bunch of combat and then a denouement that is combat free than like starting out with like, wow, I'm just in this world and I feel like I'm there. That guy's head exploded. You know what I mean? As far as just how people internalize what that flow feels like.
I think we're ready for more BioShock, personally, just for the record. I'd even take a remaster of that first game, actually.
Yeah.
I could never play it because I got scared.
I know you're the baby of the podcast, Dan, but this is getting fucking ridiculous.
No, I can't deal with horror, and I'm going to get Until Dawn at some point, and fuck knows how I'm going to cope with that.
Well, Until Dawn is going to schlocky horror. I'm sure you'll be alright with that.
Just about.
But you're playing Dying Light at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, but only because Greg's playing it with me. I literally wrote about that, saying I couldn't play it.
Of course you did, yeah.
I had a friend when I was in college who I was playing System Shock 2, and so my friend also started playing it, but he was really... He gets really scared of horror games easily, and so he literally made me come and sit on his couch the whole time he played through System Shock 2 because he would have been too scared otherwise. And then the ultimate ownage moment was he had only been saving his game in one single save slot every time he saved the game. Oh. And System Shock 2, not the most bug-free game that's ever been released. Also, my friend, as far as things he was scared of, was extra scared of spiders. And so he got to the part near the end, towards the end of System Shock 2, where they start putting the fucking mutant spiders as enemies, and they are like, their sound design is really terrifying. They're weirdly spindly and gross. And he was like, okay, I can't do this right now. I saved and quit. And then we came back the next day, and he loaded his save game, and he got a bug, which is your save game has deleted your entire inventory, but kept everything else. So he spawned back in, and he was just in a level filled with spiders with no weapons or any ammo.
Oh, dear.
That was how System Shock 2 ended for him.
It reminds me of when I first tried playing Fallout 3, and I was a weein when I was playing it for the first time, so I was scared. And my mates had told me that about this tunnel or somewhere, and it was infested with these ghouls that are terrifying. Yeah. And I got to this tunnel, I just got there somehow, despite being shit at the game. And as I was about to go in, I realised it was this tunnel, and I looked at my inventory, and I think I had an air rifle and a baseball bat, and I just turned it off and never played it again.
What I have interest, what because today just happens to be like when we're recording. I mean, totally given the game what is like embargo day, and like Unravel is out tomorrow as well with Firewatch. What have you actually got time to play any games? I mean, I know you say you play Firewatch, but generally speaking, do you try and play as much as you can, or does it just you just don't get time?
No, I try to play as much as I can, and it's like, don't have to try real hard. I just like playing games, but it's true. A lot of times I just don't have as much time as I would like. But I think there's this kind of litmus test where it's like, if I play a game even though I don't really have time for it, then it means it's like really a game I want to be playing. You know what I mean? Because there's a bunch of games that you're sort of like, oh, I'll play that when I have more time, which just kind of means like, maybe you'll never play it. But I found the time for Firewatch. I found the time for The Witness. I've played a bunch of The Witness.
How far? I mean, it's a difficult game to talk about The Witness. I've been trying to, because last time we did a podcast, we had all of our sort of crew doing 2 podcasts at the same time for 2 weeks worth. So that The Witness sort of came out then. So I've played a bit of it. I don't think a lot, but I don't know how you talk about The Witness on a podcast, really, or to anyone. Like, how do you actually talk to another human being about The Witness? Because I can't say to you, oh, have you done that puzzle? I can't say it because I might not have. And then you can't come back. Oh, well, no, what about that? Because you might not have. How do you actually talk about The Witness?
No, I had a friend over the other day, and she hadn't played The Witness at all, but I just kind of loaded it up and was getting through some stuff. And she was just watching, and she was like, she hadn't played it, so I was playing a puzzle, and she was just like, oh, what's that block do? And I'm like, well, you're going to play it, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to play it. And I'm like, well, then I can't really... I shouldn't. It's actually a spoiler to tell you what that block does, because like the game is about learning all of those rules. So it is interesting, but I finished the main whatever campaign, whatever you would like. I got to like the ending of the game, and then I've gone back in and started doing some more of the optional stuff. But I do not think I am committed enough to because I feel like at this point, so something interesting about The Witness. I read a review of The Witness, and the reviewer was like, I don't know how people are going to be able to play this game in the era of just game facts and walkthroughs, because you can just look up the answer to every puzzle. So it seems like it would be right. And so I played through it, and I never had the urge to look up the answers to any of the puzzles. But then after the main end game happens, again, no real spoilers, but a bunch of the optional stuff feels like just wander around and scrub every pixel that you can to try and find stuff, and I've definitely gotten to the point where I'm like, all right, I found a bunch of this stuff, man, I'm not just going to wander my ass around this island looking for it, because that feels like the point where I'm like, dude, if I really want to unlock this shit, I should just look up where it is. You know what I mean? Which doesn't feel great. You finish the main game, that's the difference. Yeah, and so... Go on, sorry. Sorry, so I mean, I just feel like I've hit the point where it's like, I don't want to scrub for all this stuff to be a completionist, even though there's a secret ending or whatever associated with it. And I don't want to just go through the motions of looking up a guide to where they all are. So I think I'm pretty much just done with The Witness. But I had a really good time with it, and I liked it a lot, and I'm super impressed by it, and I think it's a great game, and I would recommend investing yourself in learning its whole system and like having that experience, because I think it's really, really cool, and the island's beautiful. It runs great.
It's a very strange game because I fired it up because I mean you'll appreciate this. At the start, you kind of learn quite a lot quite rapidly, and then there comes a point where almost every puzzle you find you just aren't armed with the knowledge to overcome it yet. And I've hit that point, and because I had to sort of stop. Because other stuff I had to cover, I had to literally review.
Right.
Whereas The Witness was just something I was playing for fun. I got a little bit frustrated because I found like I just couldn't find whatever the next thing was that made just that's it, got it. And Colm was sat there playing it, and I then found it. I found a set of puzzles I understood finally. But then because he hadn't played it but was going to play it, I sort of, like, similar to your situation, I kind of sort of went, well, I have to stop now and just turn this off because I'm spoiling this for you right now.
Right. Yeah, but like in even in the, I don't know, whatever 10 minutes I saw of you playing it, Adam, I could, because weirdly, even though The Witness, like I don't really know, and to be honest, because I'm going to play it, I don't really want to know if there's any real narrative, but it's. Yeah, as I say, in a strange way, even though take a Gone Home, which is just really narrative driven, but The Witness is all kind of gameplay. They're two games that you can't really discuss openly as such, because like you said, it's, you can't say, are you in this part of The Witness, because obviously it's a big open world. You can't talk about the solution to a puzzle, because then you give away about 9 puzzles to someone if you tell them how you do whatnot and stuff. But it's like, I could, even from just watching Adam play it for 5-10 minutes, I could see what people were seeing in The Witness. It's just, it's so clever how it teaches you to, like, it doesn't hold your hand by any stretch of the imagination, but also it doesn't kind of, it's not unfair. At least that's what I think. It really does.
No, it really
kind
is
of take you through it.
You don't understand this right now, so go off and find something else that you will understand, because eventually you can come back here with the it's I don't think I've played a game like it in that respect. I can't think of a similar game really.
No, I mean it is just straight up teaching you a symbol language over the course of the game, and you're like, I don't know what that symbol means, and then you'll encounter an area that by the time you're done you do, and now you can go back and apply it, and that's really cool and really impressive. And the whole game is so precisely constructed, like to the degree where it's like the sun is always in the same position, but like tons and tons of the puzzles are based on like the angle of the sun or like the shadows cast by the sun or whatever. And so it's like all of that stuff had to be arranged so precisely that it all aligned with each other and all this stuff. And it's like just the degree to which you're like, every single thing in this game was so deeply considered to like speak to so many different aspects of what the player has to do. It's it's the kind, like, it's a game that is like a novel that you read that is like really thick and complex, and the word for it is impressive. You know what I mean? Like The Witness is an impressive construction for certain. And I think that like it's interesting because that's true and it's cool. It doesn't feel to me like that statement has like it. Like, I wouldn't say there can be something that is impressive but not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I think that the good thing about The Witness is it's both impressive and really, really good. So
don't you get the feeling like probably another developer, like you said about how sort of pristine and precise it is, don't you get the feeling like there's other developers that perhaps could have released that game maybe 6 months ago, but the point about The Witness is that it was not released until, like you say, it was precise.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what makes it a little bit special.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that, I think that's part of that's part of the value of one strand of indie games is like, or games in general of any scale, is like, you don't want to buy this game necessarily just because of the like, bullet points on the back of the box. It's this and this and this. But you want to buy it because it's great, because these specific people made it and made it live up to their own standards of exactly what it needed to be. Like, I mean, I guess that's what the whole idea of like it kind of upholds a vision in a way that's like very rigorous, you know? And so it's not like, well, you should play this game because it's cool to do line puzzles on an island. It's like, you should play this game because it is this construction that lives up to such a high standard of what it's supposed to be that you can just feel that it's like, this is something that is worth putting your time into. You know what I mean?
Would you ever see yourself making a game similar to The Witness, Steve? Like one that is more based on mechanics rather than story?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I think that you have to. Well, I mean, I think that you have to make games that. So I do really, like, I am a big fan of The Witness, but I'm also I know that I'm not the kind of developer who obsesses over that kind of design. Right. I think that if I were going to work on a game that were much more mechanically driven, I think it would be much more in the direction of like a Dishonored or a Deus Ex. You know, I mean, I worked on the BioShock series, and I think that there's a kind of mechanical density and complexity that like inherently appeals to me. And for me, that's more about like you have all these expressive tools to interact with the environment and the AI and kind of like have that relationship with the world. You know, like I love the new Deus Ex game. They came out. I'm really looking forward to Dishonored 2 and Deus Ex Mankind
Divided.
Yes, yeah. Nailed it. Et cetera, et cetera. You know, like that. I'm a big fan of those kinds of games. So I think that, you know, if I were to go back to working on something that was more mechanically driven in an inherent way, it would be something like that, as opposed to something that is more even deeply, purely like rules and mechanics based in terms of, you know, The Witness is very much about these rules that take place on a board and then the world's relationship to those boards effectively. And, you know, that kind of focus is different than what excites me. And, you know, just as far as scale goes, I don't know if I mean, whatever, forever is a long time, but at this point, I don't imagine myself wanting to work on a game that is much bigger or any bigger than like what I'm working on now. So I don't know if I'm the person who's going to be, because I know those the stuff I described, that's a lot. That's a lot to make, you know, like making AIs and making et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, I think it's just about knowing yourself and knowing whether you're a fan of playing a game or you're a fan of making a game, or if you should just kind of like appreciate other people's work in those fields. And I'm not sure where I'll end up falling, but I like working on small stuff. So
I suppose the question is have we? I mean, I know Colm's dying to absolutely rage about Unravel, but at the same time, I'm conscious of sort of, you know, time and keeping you for too long. And I feel like have we done enough before we can just let?
I was just about to say, can we just go to Gone Home? Yeah, we talk about spoilers.
So look, anyone? Yep. So if you're listening now and you haven't played Gone Home, either skip. I don't know how long, an indeterminate amount of time. Skip that long, or we'll tweet or put it in the podcast notes where the spoilers are. But,
pause it here. Yeah. Go buy Gone Home on console, play it. Yep. It only takes a few hours, and then come back.
We should say actually. I don't think there's anyone on this podcast right now who wouldn't recommend that. Seriously, if you haven't played Gone Home, it's now on PlayStation, Xbox One. Well, it should be by the time this goes out, and PC still, obviously. Yep. Go and buy it. Play it. Job done. Brilliant. Steve, marketing genius. Right, so that's your spoiler warning. This is going to be spoilery. Go for it.
Right.
Go on, Colm.
I don't know. I just
give it the floor.
After all that build-up, you're just standing there and you say, "Oh, I don't know."
Spoiler's not done. I've so much like in my head. I don't know. I'm scared. Dan, you
starstruck, Colm. I'll be honest.
I am to a degree. This is Steve Gaynor. Adam. No, I suppose Gone Home was. I'm sure I played it, Adam, and I told you to play it. You told me to play it, and you didn't tell me what it was. You refused to tell me what it was. I think you said you did the same. But there's a moment where I paused it and I texted you and said, "Is this a horror game?" Yeah.
And I think you said, just keep playing it. And I sort of looked at my phone, okay, I will. But yeah, You did.
Because
you told me to play it, yeah.
At first, like, that was because I had a friend of mine who said the exact same thing. I'm after playing this new thing on Steam. Only a few people know about it. This Gone Home thing. So I was like, all right, okay, I'll give it a go, because he was adamant, you will love this game. This is right up your alley.
And he's a horror fan as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's a horror fan. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And yeah, it was. I don't know, straight away when there was the lightning and the thunder and everything, I was going,
TV, when you're going through the second corridor and you can hear the TV and you think like someone's talking, and you're like, what's going on?
And that's me, by the way. I do the TV voice.
Oh, really?
The storm warning voice is my contribution. Yeah.
I feel like since Colm did Would You Kindly, I feel like...
Okay, I'll try it. I think I might have pitched my voice down very slightly for the actual thing. We'll see if I can remember part of the script. It's like, this is a severe weather warning. There is a severe warning, or a severe weather alert. Yeah, a severe weather alert is in effect for the following counties: Tacoma County, Boone County, Wistaria County. That's right. Okay.
Right, we need
Pretty sure
we need to,
Colin
again,
needs
we need
pants.
to do that ambient sound in the background. So like Colin needs to be the static and be the thunder and the rain. And stuff. We can remake it. Oh, it's great to hold it.
You two have quite finished changing your underpants. Please continue, Colm.
So obviously the twist was what really propelled Gone Home to...
I nearly stopped you then and shouted spoilers, but it's okay. Sorry.
No, we've done that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
spoilers
we
just in
did.
case.
I'm actually interested to hear what you say here, because what is...
Because I think a lot of things could be the twist.
Well, and I also wonder if there is a twist. Like, I never... So yeah, what would you consider that to be?
Well, okay, I suppose that's a very valid point, because the twist that people think of, the Kaiser Soze is Kevin Spacey. They're spoilers for the usual suspects.
You didn't warn me.
Jesus.
But like,
go on Amazon Video, buy The Usual Suspects, pause the podcast.
Yep, sorry.
but like,
it's only a few hours.
obviously enough. Like okay, well, maybe not. But you think maybe this reflects on me poorly. I don't know. But you don't think that your sister's gay, or you don't see that kind of relationship. I didn't see it anyway.
Right.
I don't know. Dan, you might be different. Adam, you might be
I
different.
think you're a horrible homophobe, and we're all judging you silently. No, I'm with you. I wasn't expecting that.
Some of us here start from an assumption that maybe they are. Let's work our way back from that point. No,
the twist truly would have been if she was straight.
If she was straight, yeah.
Jesus.
I'm a horrible person. Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, so here's how I would look at it. Maybe is like, I don't feel like I never wanted there to be a twist moment.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of media where there's a twist and it happens in a really memorable single moment, like Kaiser
Surprise
Soze.
is perhaps a better word. No.
Yeah, like I hope that what the game did was upset people's expectations of what they went in expecting, right? So like you go in and maybe you know a twist in a way, again, not in a single moment, just like an overall like surprise might have been, oh, this isn't a horror game, this is about a relationship, or it's about this family, or it could be like, oh, I'm playing a game about like LGBT issues. I didn't see that coming. This just seemed like a house, you know what I mean? And I think that is a big part of some of the value that people got out of it, right? Like, I don't think that, like, I think that the spoilers that people are trying to avoid when they tell their friend, like, I'm not going to tell you anything about this, just play it, is not so much, like we could say, oh, Sam ran away with her girlfriend. The parents are on a marriage retreat, and like those are like factual spoilers, but I think that more of what people are trying to like protect people from is they want them to have that experience of like going in not knowing what kind of game this is or what's going to happen, and just having that like gradual discovery of like, oh, there isn't going to be anybody there wasn't a serial killer, like that's what this is really about.
It feels like the twist is like how it's all that no one's. It's like a not mundane. It's like quite just a normal. Like I said, the parents aren't there because they've gone for their honeymoon or whatever. Or not honeymoon, sorry, anniversary. Yeah. So it's like a mundane reason why they're not there. It's not like they've been murdered in the basement.
Right.
Like, you know
but
what I mean?
don't you think that's a product of the immaturity of video games, that something like, oh shit, wow, she's gay, is a shock, whereas because you don't, and maybe less so now, but at the time it came out, that sort of thing wasn't done in video games. It just wasn't something that would be discussed, let alone for it to be this.
Didn't think it come out after it as well. Gone Home came out before Last of Us's DLC, didn't it? So like started like a bit of a trend of stuff like happened.
But it's that's what made me. I think that's why it sticks in my memory, because for me, and this is gonna sound a little bit like fanboy gushing with the person in the room, but it stands out and still stands out to me because it tackles an issue. And what it boils down to me isn't that she's gay; it's that parents kind of people can't deal. There are people who just can't deal with this kind of shit, and that's real life. And you because of the atmosphere, because of the way you weave through the house, the way, like you know, as we've said, like you're almost scared. Is this a horror game? But it's not. It's just not. All it is a regular family who have not been able to cope with something they perceive as different. And that's why it hit home to me, because I mean I'm not gay, just in case. No, it hit home.
I'm sure your wife and 2 kids would be slightly worried.
That doesn't mean anything nowadays. No, it hit home for me because I know people who've been through similar situations and have been basically castigated because of something that isn't a choice.
Right.
You know, it isn't a choice to be. I'm gonna decide to be gay. And again, it really hit home, and the emotional resonance is because. Someone somewhere can't deal with that kind of thing, and it's almost like, well, you know, what year are we in now? But that's but it also doesn't judge them for it. It doesn't. I don't feel it explicitly says, and because they couldn't cope with it, they're bad people. Again, maybe just my interpretation. And I know we've been sort of quite laughy and jokey throughout this podcast, but that's why it always stands out to me. And I think that sort of thing's really important because video games can be whatever we want them to be.
Yeah.
I think that's again that like another thing that resonated with me, like just basically to reiterate what you're saying, Adam, is that it felt when I was playing it felt very adult. It felt very much like somewhat of a
real. It felt like real problems, like the dad's like getting. I think I put in my reviews like you go to the bar and there's like bottles of whiskey and glasses thrown everywhere. Then you dig about and there's a note saying that his publications dropped him, whatever it is. So you work out. Oh, he's drinking because he's fucking. Me. Yeah, stuff like that. It's just real problems with real people.
I think the goal with the design of the game was to basically give players the ability to invest themselves in those, like I think mundane is a totally fine word, in those like small or mundane issues that these things that these people are going through, you know, because the way I was thinking about it is like and this was something that like when I was working at Irrational that Ken Levine would say when he was talking about like writing villains, for instance, you know, and this is not his quote. I forget what the original source is, but he would go back to this quote that was like, everybody is the hero of their own story, right? Like villains, a bad villain is somebody who like wants to do bad things because they love being bad, right? But like
unless it's the Joker, it doesn't work, does it? It's
right.
got to be like the best villains, like Magneto, who he's like I said, he is the hero of his own story because he's like trying to protect his people and all that type of stuff.
And so his point in that case was like a villain who has a strong like internal justification for why they're doing what they're doing. You can see like, oh, I can see why they did these things, is powerful. And I think from my point of view, my interpretation of that is like all of us have things in our own lives that are deeply important to us, or that the people that we know personally, because it's someone that we know, it impacts us. Like if someone we know gets sick or gets injured, or you know, like you can walk past a park or you know a church or whatever and see somebody else's marriage any day, and it's like, okay, well, there's some people getting married. But if you are those people, or if you know those people, or if you're those people's parents or whatever, like it's one of the most important days of your life. And so I think that, you know, from our point of view, what I wanted to be able to say was like, a guy getting dropped from his publisher and not being able to write his new book, like that's not world changing, right? Like that's not like an earth shaking problem. No. But if you know that person, if you are that person or if you know him, then you can feel why that matters. And so if Gone Home can give you access to being like, oh, okay, I feel like this game has let me turn these characters into people I know. And that's why I care about what happened to them. And that's why these things that happen to them feel dramatic to me, not because they are melodramatic or because they are sweeping, but because I feel like I can identify with them, then, hopefully that's what makes the difference.
Did you play that Dragon Cancer at all?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Because I think, again, the similarity can be drawn between Gone Home being this important piece of game and that Dragon Cancer. I think Gone Home's, I felt an absolute piece of shit for saying this. I really do. I've got to, though, because I've started it. I feel like Gone Home is a better game. I think that Dragon Cancer, when I finished that, and I don't know if you feel the same, it felt like a really important piece of video game design in that, again, nobody's done that. Nobody's touched that. And probably for good reason. I think unless you have that personal touch to it, it's difficult to do it justice. I put off playing it for quite a long time because I lost my father to cancer and his sister, in fact, died of cancer. So it was one of those where it's like, I feel like I want to play it because I think it's important and I want to know if it is actually important.
Did you feel like you could identify with it as an individual because of those? Okay, yeah.
And also because more because I've seen cancer really close. Yeah. Really, and I'm not a religious man, but it's the devil. Like the cancer is, I've seen it too close. And I have children of my own, a lot older than the children some of the children are a bit older in that Dragon Cancer, aren't they? Some of the older ones.
Sure.
And it was for that reason I kind of didn't know if I could actually get through it. And I would never judge someone for stopping or just saying, like, I can't fucking play that.
Yeah.
But it's of that similar thing where, like, I've got nothing wrong with a video game being like a Gears of War. I love Gears of War, for the record. Like, great game, fantastic games. But at the same time, they can be more because they can be whatever you want them to be.
Right. But it's like, I suppose it's like anything. It's like film and you having Face Off and Schindler's List or something. You're allowed to have all of these things to choose from. And it's nice that, like, I suppose video games in the past couple of years have been embracing that more. Kind of, I think, anyway.
Tackling the important stuff instead of, there's always room for the fun shooting aliens.
And in fairness, the AAA publishers will take care of that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think that with Gone Home, that's what we basically saw an opportunity for, right? Was to say, like, we are boiling down the mechanics we're going to use to a very focused core of, like, how you interact with this environment. And so, we could set that anywhere, right? That we could have set this in the 18th century or in the future or in, XYZ, right? But I think that we saw the opportunity to say, this game is about discovering and, like, investing small things with meaning and building a story, building an understanding of the story out of that. And so we have this opportunity to just talk about normal people and have this game be a way of expressing. Games can give you access to normal people and what they're going through in a way that is unique. I think that film can also do that in ways that are unique to film. A novel can do that in ways that are unique to a novel. And I think games are also capable of that. And I think that we just saw this opportunity to say, we could set this in a fantastical castle or whatever, but games can do something that we haven't really seen done in this way on this scale before. Like there are totally games like Twine, generally like smaller scale Twine games or Game Maker games. They're sort of like, here's about something that happened to me, or here's about something very small that happened to this character that relates to experience I've had or whatever. But we were coming from this background of having worked on the BioShock games and kind of being in that mode of, like, we're good at making these environments that you explore and you find what happened there through the environment. And so can we take aspects of that form and fit it to a much more kind of like intimate story of just what happened to a few people in this house? Because like you said, I think that I think all designers and players too are always looking for, like, what else can games do? You know what I mean? And so if you see the opportunity to say, maybe we can explore something else games can do that we haven't seen done before, then that is kind of a good thing for everybody, you know.
Have you seen a markedly different reaction to... Because I'd like to think that games like Gone Home have helped, generally speaking, tolerance be a bit more... Well, more tolerant, basically. But
that's good. That was good wordcraft. That was strong.
Terrible, wasn't it? And I write for a living. That was bullshit. And I write for a living. You're never hiring me, are you? Seriously though, I feel like it's when did it first come out on PC? Was it 2013?
Yeah, August 2013.
So 3 years is quite a long time in a sort of emotional maturity, and there's a whole new generation of people, that don't play PC games, playing it for the first time. Have you seen any what you would see as sort of different reaction to that big moment then to now, or is it the same? Do you get what I mean? Has there been any maturity there?
I guess I would say, I don't know. Like it was certainly
people
it was
still blown away by it. Like, have you seen a bit less like, oh well, she's gay, so what? So what?
I mean,
in a way, that's kind of good, but at the same time, from your perspective, well, no, you want the game to be.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
I mean, the weird thing is that like there were polarized reactions to Gone Home when it came out, and we weren't really expecting that because we didn't really, I don't know, whatever, right? Like there was the whole like it's not a game thing, it's too expensive thing, all that kind of stuff. And the interesting thing was like there were a bunch of people who were kind of outraged by Gone Home because they're like, whatever. Oh, this is getting like game of the year. It's not even a game, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just quickly, how do you? I can't think who we asked this to recently, but I'm going to ask the exact same question to you. When someone says that to you, Steve, your game, it's not a game. How do you not just say fuck off? Just fuck off. You know what I mean?
It depends on whether I'm on mic or not. No, not really.
Well,
I mean, that's
not
the
a game,
thing,
Steve.
like people don't really like. That's the thing. People don't really like come up to you and say that. Generally, it's more like
they'll say it on Twitter.
Yeah. But like I guess all I mean to say is there was outrage online about our game when it came out. But the thing that I actually found kind of weirdly encouraging was that it was really never about any of like the LGBT
That's
issues
true,
in
actually.
it at all. Like people weren't like, this game's bad because it's about gay people. It was like,
is that because it's a spoiler and they don't want to spoil, but they're secretly really, really homophobic? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
But it was kind of like, wasn't a lot of it. Yeah, this isn't a game because it's only 2 hours long, or this isn't a game because I just walk around. Like there was.
Yeah. It's
from what I remember,
a game though. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say, but it's literally on a game. That you play on Steam, which is a video game platform, or play. It's a fucking game.
Sure.
If you're listening to this, it's a game, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, all I mean to say is, I feel like the only time that people really even brought up, like queer issues or whatever, would either be if they were like writing an essay where they're like, I identified with this or blah blah blah, or if they were just straight up trolling and just trying to find a way to be as offensive as possible. Right. But like, I feel like I found it really interesting to be like, oh, nobody actually came out like in a sincere way and was like, don't buy this game because it's about gay people. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool. And I think that has continued to be the case. I think that our console release user Metacritic ratings are still just as low as the PC release. But I think it's for the same reasons. You know what I mean? And so I think
you get letters from people saying, thank you, you helped me come out. Out of the closet or something.
We definitely have, and that's really cool to know. Like, I mean, I think that any way that you can make something creative and have it actually have an impact on someone's life, I think is basically all you can hope for. You know what I mean? I mean, we definitely, especially after the PC release came out, and got a lot of attention kind of all at once. We got a lot of emails from people, and some of them were like, I know people who are like, oh yeah, I came out to my family because I played Gone Home. You know what I mean?
That's
I'm
amazing.
Like, okay, like good. Like I know that's like a thing. There would have been something that would have almost certainly, led those people to that point in their lives. But the fact that someone could play our game and be like, well, maybe I can tell my family about this. Like, yeah, that's amazing. And there was an email that I got from somebody that was like, and for every email you get, hopefully it means that there's a bunch of other people that had a similar experience and didn't email you about it. But there was somebody who wrote, and he was like, I'm, from Iowa. I grew up Christian. I've never had any kind of like sympathy for like gay rights or anything. But I played Gone Home, and I really felt like I got to know a gay a gay person as this character, as this, like, I could see, like, oh, this is just a person who's trying to, like, be happy, and I really feel like I feel different about those issues now, so thank you. And, like, like, that's crazy.
Like, that must even be nearly as powerful as hearing someone say that they came out to their parents, to hear someone say who...
change perceptions.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think, I think that, like, there's been a whole sweeping... change to the media landscape kind of since, like, the late 90s-ish with, like, I don't know, Ellen DeGeneres or whatever, where it's sort of like there's been this real push of, like, we're going to make gay people and out gay people much more visible in media, so that people who don't know or don't know that they know a gay person in real life can still kind of be like, oh, there's all these celebrities, they're gay, I like their work, I feel like I know them, quote unquote. I'm, I feel like I'm less isolated from the idea of kind of like being okay with gay people. And if Gone Home can be a part of that and give some people another potential avenue to feel like they can identify with people that aren't like them, and that can change their overall perception, even in a very small way, of like how they might actually go about their lives in relation to those issues and those kinds of people outside of the game, then I mean, we never, like, I never started working on Gone Home as a message game or like an agenda driven game. I never said, like, I want to drive this message home for people and make them think differently, right? Like, but I think that if you make a game, like, it's what the whole, like, drive in the 70s forward for people to come out is all about, is like, it's just about, if you know somebody who is like XYZ and you know them as a human, you can't really help being more empathetic towards that kind of person. And because of the circumstances of making the game, we decided to make it about a gay character. And so, like, the game is built on getting to know these characters and therefore building empathy with them. And so if that can affect people's thinking as a nice side effect, then I think that's certainly not a bad thing,
I feel like we should ask Dan, because he seemed to want to ask some spoiler questions.
Spoil it out.
And then we've got to let Steve go, I think.
Oh, I mean, I've been very enlightened by this. All I want to know is, well, I say no, I want to, like, commend, the note on outside Sam's door where it says, Sam, whatever, you stop leaving all the lights off, you're just like your sister. When I came across that, I just looked at it and went, you clever bastard. You just know that, because I'm terrified going through this house. I've been leaving all the lights on because it's terrifying in the dark. I had to like pause it and just be like, damn.
I remember, so, like, we made the game in a house in Portland that the three of us co-founders of the company rented together, and we had all of our computers down in the basement as our office. And I remember the day that I was down in the basement and I was walking upstairs to, like, I don't know, get a drink of water or something, and Carla was down there working. And I remember the moment where I walked up the stairs and I was like, hey, we should put a note in the game that's like, stop leaving all the lights in the house on, you're as bad as your sister. And she was like, oh yeah, because the player's leaving all the lights on. I'm like, yeah. And then we put it. And the funny thing was that, so, like, I'm assuming 90% of players, they turn the lights on, they leave them on. Then they know they've been in the room, there's no reason to turn them back off. And so it, the joke works. But, like, the funny thing is, players will always have an interpretation that makes it work, because I got an email from someone or a tweet from someone or something that was like, I was going through the game and carefully turning every light off when I left a room, and then I saw that note and I was like, oh, I guess I learned to be better about this since I went to Europe.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
I was like, good, very good.
I saw it as, because obviously I was doing it. It was like, I can't remember how I worded it, but it was something like how I was acting as a character was made as a player. Sorry, was made as like a aspect of the character's character. So I just thought it was really clever. And I thought, like as I said, I wrote in my review of the console ones, like obviously the Gone Home story is like famed by everyone, but I thought it was like really, it's quite underrated or understated. It's like designed as well, like all the players you'd expect go left when they go in instead of going straight up the stairs and ruin it for them and stuff, and like the bottles in the bar that I was mentioning earlier, I thought stuff like that, like the design of it was quite understated compared to the story, which I thought they were both brilliant in equal measure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as far as like inspirations from Minerva's Den or whatever, if you look at the map of the first level of Minerva's Den, which I was the level designer on, so I laid that out and everything, it's pretty much the same as the Gone Home house, like give or take. Like you start on the south end and it's an outdoor, like it's a whatever seafloor area, and then you go into a main lobby that has two, it has an east wing and a west wing, and then on the north side of the lobby there's stairs that go up to an upstairs area, and then there's actually, spoilers, a little room under those stairs that you go through to get to the second level of the game. So like the thing about Gone Home that I think makes it work in kind of that unspoken mechanical design sense is that it's using a ton of learned lessons about how to lay out spaces so that they guide the player, and how to like set up, gating with locked doors and lighting and all that kind of stuff to kind of encourage the player to follow a reliable path and have a good experience without them feeling like they're just, like being led by the nose all the time. But, I do appreciate it when people call out the design aspects of the game, because I think that you couldn't just, scatter all this stuff on a, in an arbitrary space and let people look at it and for them to have a good experience. It's about the space kind of communicating the flow of the thing to players as they play.
Speaking about space, this is a professional link if ever you've heard one.
Dude.
Speaking of space, we should quickly also mention. I know, like Gone Home is out now. Do we actually? I know, I nearly said Tacoma. Sorry, Tacoma is out in. Is it definitely confirmed for this year for Xbox One and PC?
I mean, it's supposed to be. We're still working on it.
You haven't. I mean, you haven't set like a
we
firm
haven't set
date,
we haven't set a release date now.
But you're hoping for this year, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we're just hard at work on it. It's one of those things where it's like, that's been our aim. But, we're in the middle of the thing right now. And if it's got to go longer to be good, then it's going to have to. You know what I mean? But, we have our targets. We are... it's one of those things where it's like, you can always add more time forever, right? And we saw Duke Nukem Forever, et cetera, right? Like, I mean, it's not always a good thing. But on the other hand, it's not a good thing to undersell your game either. You know what I mean? So absolutely. The thing is, we've got, we 3 of the original members from Gone Home are still at the company, and then there's 5 new people. And so, we've been learning a lot about working together and about what kind of game we're building. And I'm really excited about where it's headed, to the point where I do feel like, okay, this thing we're making, we have to do it justice. You know what I mean?
Is it coming to the Xbox One just because, or is it an exclusivity deal? Can you talk about that at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Because we were asked basically. So I put out a call and someone said, "Is can you ask if it's ever going to come? Can it ever come to PlayStation?"
So it's an exclusivity thing at launch.
Okay.
We don't. And to be completely honest, we are effectively going to say, okay, we're making this game for PC, Xbox One, and then we'll see, right? So like we kind of we're going to take it one step at a time and see what the future holds. But it's one of those things where I'm not good. Like, I don't think that what we definitely know is what our launch platforms are going to be. and then we're going to have to feel out what stuff looks like past that.
And are you planning on launching PC and Xbox One sort of within, near enough same day, or is it?
Those are going to be simultaneous. Yeah.
Okay. So and then like you say, from there we'll see.
Yeah. We don't know, but we have a really good relationship with Microsoft. They're a great partner. They're really supportive, and I think that Xbox One is really turning into a platform that is worth paying attention to for the
Big
work
time.
they are doing to bring like interesting exclusive stuff to it.
Oh,
at this point.
if you watch one of Colm's videos, which was
I think the Xbox One is actually I favour it over the PlayStation 4 currently. I think they've really gone on leaps and bounds over the last kind of 12 months.
Yeah, so we got in with them, I think, at a good time when we were on stage with them at last E3, and I think that they are really building what that platform is doing in an exciting way. We're from a development standpoint, we're really excited to only be focusing on one console for launch anyway, just because like juggling that stuff, et cetera, is
it's like we said to Patrick the other week. Surely, don't you just press
control file save as
PlayStation 4?
Oh,
exactly. Right?
Save as Tacoma.xbox.
Exactly. Tacoma.3DS. It's as simple as that.
I mean, the future's
never
open.
say never.
That's what we got going on right now.
So hopefully this year, and Steve, people can. Oh shit! Do you know what, Colin? There's a really important question. I haven't asked.
Shit!
Oh god, here we go.
We have to ask this question.
We're letting two people on this podcast and not asking this question. So please, Colin, please do.
Steve, this is the most important question now. Genuinely,
arguably the only question that matters.
I mean, with the last hour and 10 minutes, I mean that was only filler to get to this stage.
To this point,
exactly. Steve. Right, okay. We've many luminaries in the games industry have been asked this, and now we can add Steve Gaynor to the list. Steve, where do you keep your tomato ketchup? Do you keep it in the fridge, or do you keep it in the cupboard?
I keep ketchup in the fridge.
Thank you. Good man. That's the correct answer.
Fucking disgrace.
Absolutely. Steve, you're right by me.
Steve, God, you were doing so well.
We also keep peanut butter in the fridge.
No, interesting.
But see, that's on my wife, because she likes to get the like natural peanut butter that separates, and you have to stir it and everything.
Yep.
So, but if you keep it in the fridge, it doesn't separate. So,
my wife recently bought a biscuit spread that I'd never heard of.
Huh. Biscuit spread.
So it's basically similar to how you'd get a peanut butter, a jar, that sort of consistency, but it tastes of biscuits.
Is it that stuff that's called like speculoos?
To be honest with you, she just walked in the room with a spoon and said, "Try this." She'd done a little more research, I suppose.
Nearly made a dreadful pun then, but I'll leave it.
Probably best.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, I think we've probably taken more of your time than we agreed to, so sorry about that.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks again for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
It was, yeah. Do you know what? I'm really pleased that we actually had a serious discussion, because I was expecting maybe we'd have to end it with Colm just shouting Willies or something, just to take it back down,
to lower the tone again to somewhere we're comfortable with.
It's fairly modest for Colm, that, to be fair.
yeah, he didn't even say the C word. Steve, if people want to find you on Twitter, it's at Fullbright, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we won't bother pimping ours because people, I should hope by now know. Yeah. So. Gone Home is it will be out very, very near the release of this podcast. It maybe be a day after or a day before, or maybe on the day. If you listen to this, seriously, go and buy Gone Home. Seriously. Like, if you care even at all, just slightly about narrative in video games, like, kind of, this is on the bucket list of narrative-based games, I'd say.
Big time, yeah. Big time.
And Tacoma is out hopefully this year.
Can we get a little... sorry, to correct your pronunciation, it's technically Tacoma.
Tacoma.
So
I just gotta get the phlegm in there.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't want to say it like that, Steve. I'm sorry.
Well, then you can say it the Plebeian way, and you can say Tacoma if you can't say it the right way.
Do you know what? Yeah, I can't say it right. Tacoma is hopefully out this year on Xbox One and PC. I can't wait to play that.
You're so unprofessional, Adam, that you can't pronounce it properly.
Please do then.
Tacoma.
There you go. Beautiful.
I slightly worry that people who... it's actually called Tacoma. I don't want to give the wrong impression. It's Tacoma.
Yeah,
Fullbright Games.
You can go to tacoma-game.com, see a trailer, and get links to our newsletter and all that kind of stuff if you want to keep up with it while we're working on it.
Beautiful. Steve, thank you very much for your time, and for the rest of the people listening, if you're a Patreon backer, you'll hear Colm and Dan and myself talking for a little bit longer, but for the regular podcast, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.